Hey gamers, take a ride with me and let's review Automania. Check it out. Setup for the game is fairly simple. What you're going to do is give each player one of these little player boards. They're all the same in the base game. However, if you flip them over, there are advanced versions of each one. I'll tell you what those are in just a minute. But first off, each player is going to get 6 meeples of their color. They're also going to get some cardboard tokens representing the 3 types of cars they can make, whether they be the small size, the mid-size, or luxury class cars there. They all have these little cardboard tokens. You're going to shuffle these little demand tokens here and then deal them out, 5 on each side. This is the American market here. This is the European market over there. You're going to put your first player tokens up there, first player cars up here. First place will go down here, followed by second, third, and fourth. You're also going to give out cash. The cash come in these auto bucks ranging from $1 to $10. First place will get $6, and then everyone else will get an extra $1, so 7, 8, 9, depending on where you're going in that order. You're also going to shuffle your A and B tiles, deal out A tiles here on the board, and then 2 down here. You're also going to have your little yield tokens here. You're going to put those in. That's going to dictate player order for the next round. Now, this is a very simple game to play, even though it looks really busy. It's basically just worker placement. What you're going to do when it's your turn, place one of your workers anywhere outside of this grid, and you're going to get cards associated to that row. So if I played here, I get any card on that row. If I played here, I get any tile on that row. I could also build that type of vehicle. As you see, there's the small size, mid-size, and luxury cars here. And so when I do that, I would just take one of my tokens, let's say it was the small size here, and I would just run him down the aisle there. You can fill in tiles with these, which I'll get to in a minute. But as you can see, mid-size follows that track, whereas luxury follows the longer track. And you would just take the token associated with whatever car you just paid for. You're going to have to pay that money, either $1, $2, or $3, and then you can make a car. In addition to that, you're also getting a tile here. Let me talk to you about what some of these tiles are. Some of them are just basic upgrade tiles. What you'll do is you put them on top of your player board. Now you can put up to 3 on any one of these. The first one is free, but as you see here on the board, the second upgrade, whether it's dice or maybe it's a muffler or a spoiler, ooh, that one would be free. To put the muffler on there would cost me $1. To put a third one on there would cost me $2. And that's just going to add little stars, which are kind of make your car a little bit nicer as they roll off the factory and go on the boats to be sold. So that's what the little upgrades are. Now, of course, you can upgrade your little bins here. So if I got any of these tokens here, there's the green, there's the speedometer, there's luggage, trunk space. You could put it down here on any of these or cover up an existing one, whatever you want. And when a car, let's say a mid-size, ran through here, it would get 1 star plus steering and move out. Now, what does steering mean in this case? Well, if you look over in the American market right now, steering is the thing, man. That is in. Your car will automatically have 4 stars. So if I made that mid-size car and I had the little steering token there, and I ran it down the track, it would get 1 star plus, if I sold in America, 4 more stars. Man, this is a 5-star vehicle already. And so if I wanted to sell in America, it'd be worth 5 stars. But if you look at the European market, it's only worth 2 right now. Now, these markets will, of course, change every round. So the markets are fiddly, both in the American and European market. But wherever I wanted to sell it, I would place it in those boats according to those victory points. So, for instance, this one was a 5 in the American market, and only a 2 or actually 3, because they got a star for going through there, in the European market. So if I want to put European, I'd put it here. If I want to put the American market, I'd put it in 5, and as you see here, I'd even get a victory point for just having it on that boat. So that's probably going to go into the American market. Now, if someone already had a car in the 5 spot and you got a 5, you would just have to go to the next available spot, which sadly would be a 4. However, anytime there are these 2 always spaces that give you extra stars for points or extra money, because you're going to run out of money. Money's really tight in the game. And you can't be blocked out of these. Anyone can put as many of these as they can on here and get extra stars. So let's say I put 3 green players on there and gave this the bump from 5 to 8. Ooh, put it on the other boat there. Even nicer. But that's what the stars do. And of course, this one's an all way for money to get you some extra bucks in the game. Now, by the way, there is a way. Let's say I wanted to get another mid-size car, but the 2 mid-size options were unavailable. Well, one thing I could do, I could bump out red player if I paid 1 more meeple than he had down there. So I could bump him out by playing 2 meeples. This one goes back to the red player, and then I can get to do that action. If red player came back and he had 3 red meeples, he could replace me there as well, and then green player would get those 2 back and place them back on the board. Now, eventually, maybe red player, they really want to make a mid-sized car, but now they can't because they can't bump me out 1 for 1, and they only have 1 left. Well, they can always go to this little square in the corner here and build a 1, 2, or 3 car, whatever they want. They just don't get to get a tile in that case. The other things you can get tile-wise, you can get things that give you instant awards, like this one gives you an instant $2. This one's a tray, actually. You can put it on your, tray there, and that's an extra 2 stars if it goes through there. Another instant one would be this one down here, which would give you 2 victory points, even though you get that at the end of the round, which I'll talk about in a minute. But that's one of the things that upgrades can get you. The third type of tile you can get is these managers, and there are different managers in the game that give you different abilities. And as you see, you can hold up to 4 managers. You have to pay for each one, and they get expensive the more you put in there, but they come with bonuses. Like this guy will give you an extra star in every vehicle that goes through. Or she will let you sell an extra car at the end of the round. Every round you have a set limit of cars you can sell, but she will always let you sell +1. This guy here, if you have him at the end of the game, he's worth a victory point. And then you also get to use a gray meeple. Hey, they have some gray extra workers here, extra meeples here that you can pay or get and place on the board. Or you have, and this is an example down here, this is also with a victory point if kept at the end of the game. For every time you go to that dollar space, she'll give you an extra $1. So it's not just $1, it's $2 for every time I have someone there. So as you can see, those little managers can help you out a lot as well. Now there's other 2 little corners here and here. If you played someone there, of course you could get any tile from that row. Now what if you get a tile and you don't need it or you don't want it? You can just take it and toss it if you don't want it. Or if you want to replace it, something on your board with it, you just toss that other one that you're not using. But anyway, on top of that, you get to pull a card from the deck. And these cards give you bonus points for building certain types of vehicles with certain requirements. So for instance, this one, build a luxury car if it's worth 9 points or more and has extra trunk space, means it has that trunk space token on it, then you're going to get 2 extra victory points. And of course, this one, build any size car for 8 victory points. As long as it has a spoiler, you're going to get 2 victory points. Build one that's worth 14 that has the speedometer. You're going to get 4 victory points on top of whatever you end up selling it for. These are just ways to get extra victory points in the game. The only way to get those cars would be there and there. Now, the game's going to keep going as people are making cars, grabbing tiles, and putting out their workers until someone eventually, uses maybe the last of their workers in these 2 all spaces, and someone passes. The first person to pass gets to choose what, when they're going. Are they going first, second, third, or fourth? And if you go first, that's great. You get to go first in selling cars. Hooray! And you'll get to go first in the next round. Unfortunately, though, you can only sell 2 cars. If you go second, you can only sell 2 cars, but you get to grab one of these extra tiles. So that's not bad. This one, you get to go third. You get to sell 3 cars, and you get to pull one of these cards from the deck. That's pretty cool. And then the last one, well, it sucks to go last when selling and when putting meeples down, but at least you can sell as many cars as you want to on the boats. Now, sometime during the game, you're going to have cars out like so. The round ends and everyone is passed. Then players are going to sell cars, and they get to choose, starting with the highest car first and the first player. They get to choose which market they want to sell in, the American market or the European market. They can only sell in the market where they have cars. So for instance, let's say red player goes and they said, you know what, I'm going to get either 6 victory points or $3 and 3 victory points. The bottom ones are the best, and then of course it gets weaker as you go up the track there. So let's say he just goes for victory points. There's a lot of victory points in the European market and a lot of cash in the American market. As you see, the top one in the American market gives you 1 victory point, but $5 cash. And then they have the 3-3 split. Basically, the ones over to the right side are the same for either one. It's just that on the left side, these give you victory points, and the American market gives you more money and less victory points. So you're selling them and making more, you're making more cash for your next round, so you can afford to make more vehicles, or you're making victory points and moving up the victory point tracker here. And whoever is last place at the end of the round, they get to decide which next feature comes into play. As you see, we had 2 features up here and here that weren't in play yet. They weren't graded for stars. And so either using the red left one or the blue circle on the right, they can say which one they want to shift. Now they can't say, well, I want this one to shift in left and then I want right to shift in there. They can't do that. What they can say is, okay, right is shifting in. So then you take the right one, these bump all the way down. Oh, that one stays there. Steering comes out. This one comes in, bumps all those down. And then the luggage will go over here, and the steering will go over there for next time. And then the next player will get to decide which one, both left or both right, get to come in. So the market is always changing. So each round, whereas luggage was really important in the European market, now it's not as important. Whereas, no one cared about the speedometers here in America, now they do, but they really care about it, speed, over there in Europe. So like I said, you may want to hold out until, maybe you get the right car or the right deals, and you'll constantly be moving and shifting your upgrades, kind of molding around to what the markets demand. And also, at the end of the round, to clean up, of course, you're going to take up all your little meeples, and then any cars that were left unsold stay on the boats, and then you're going to wipe all the tiles, deal out more tiles, and start the game again. The game keeps going until you run out of tiles. After that, you add up any victory points that you had on completed cars, any victory points you had on any managers that were within your possession, and you're going to add up money. Whoever has the most money gets 10 victory points. Second place gets 6 victory points, and third place gets 3 victory points. Of course, fourth place gets nothing. Of course, whoever has the most points wins. The advanced version of the game, you flip these over, and everyone has a special ability. The blue player can have up to 6 managers, not just 4, 6 managers here, and it only costs them $2 each, which is really nice. However, as you see here, upgrades cost them $1 more now to put an upgrade up there for the second one. The yellow one, they have a car token with a star on it. Whenever they use that one, they automatically get a bonus star on that card. Now, the red player has a neat ability. What he can do is he can place in an area that someone else is sold in. So let's say the red player's here, and let's say the green player had taken the big bucks and the victory point. Well, if you're playing the advanced game, red player, once per round, can play on top of another player. Usually that would be locked out since they played there, but red player may also sell for that same amount as someone else. So nice ability there. And the green player has a neat one. If you notice, their track for little vehicles is a little bit longer. Everyone else is still the straight short track in the advanced game. As you see, doesn't matter here. It's always, even though this is the advanced side here, it's just a straight track. However, greens are always going to be a little bit more, on the advanced side, greens are going to be just a little more profitable because they're going to have 3 different areas where you can make upgrades to. So their little mini vehicles, their shorter vehicles, are going to be a little bit nicer. And those are kind of the things you can do with the advanced boards. And that's the game. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, this is a game I've been looking at for well over a year. I've always wanted a game about making cars. There's a few out there. There's one called Kaban, and I really tried to get into that, but as I kept looking at the video, I was like, it doesn't look so good. And then I thought, is this one any good? And I was like, maybe. And finally I decided, well, you know what? I had some Amazon gift cards. Why not go ahead and get it? So I purchased it, and we started playing with it. It has the Dice Tower seal of approval, though that means nothing to me. They put their seal of approval on a lot of games I don't like. But the game overall is actually very good. I actually enjoy it. It seems like there's a lot going on with the board. And to be honest, after the first round, every player knew what was happening. It was funny because every time I bring this out, someone goes, ooh, this looks very busy. Ooh, like I'm not going to get this. And they quickly catch on and they know exactly what they're doing. Man, money is so tight in this game. You think you're going to go to Europe and start selling all your cars, and that's what we were doing at first. And then we realized we had no money for the second round, and that's when everyone started using the American market too. So we were kind of everywhere our first game through. But after that, we started, learning how to balance it out, getting your money, getting your points at the same time. Get those extra cards, man. Those count as victory points. I believe the first time we played, I was killing this guy. I was making so many cars and selling them. And he had all his bonus cards. At the end, he beat me out in bonus cards, just barely. And then playing again, every game we've played, actually, there hasn't been a runaway leader. To be honest, everyone's been within 4 points of each other in a lot of games. I mean, the distance between first and fourth has been a little bit of a distance, but as the cards are stacked up, it's always pretty close down to the wire. Those extra victory points you have on the cards or your, managers do make a difference, and you do start looking at that too. You're like, man, I don't really need that manager because I got enough money, but I like those 2 bonus points at the end. I'm gonna pick her up. You just have to do that sometimes. So this is a really fun game. I have no idea if it's still in print. I have an aching feeling that it kind of is going out of print now because I'm not seeing it as widely available, and that's a shame. If you find it for cheap, pick it up. It's actually a pretty good game. Or if it's still in stock or comes out in restock, yeah, go ahead and get it. Pretty good game. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Until next time, you know what to do. Drive on.